What's up, everyone? Welcome to Hoops Hobby Hangout. We are excited, I think, to talk. I know there's a couple people here that are super excited to talk ABA cards this week. So the context of why this is happening, I think a few weeks ago, maybe a month or two ago, we had talked about the fact that the ABA documentary Soul Power was going to get released. I think it did like a month ago, right? I think it was February 12th or something. And so it made sense. I felt like it made sense. I think Steve maybe pitched it that we should talk ABA cards and players and how that fits into kind of the collecting and modern collecting and whatever. So that's what we're going to be focusing on today. I'm really excited to have Kyle, Wax Museum Podcast, hanging out with us today. And I think that he has no dearth of ABA stuff that he can share with us. So welcome, Kyle, and thanks for hanging out again.
Yeah, thank you. And can I talk about this real quick so I can get rid of it because it smells like a wet dog? This is like an ABA style warm up that made by Adidas that a lot of the teams wore in 2012. So they did like Hardwood Classics nights, and even and we can get into this more later, but like the Timberwolves were the Minnesota Muskies and the Bobcats were the Carolina Cougars. But then there were teams that actually had ABA lineage that wore this stuff as well. So this was an eBay purchase. It had number 29 on the tag. So I think it's Jeff Pendergraph, who later became known as Jeff Ayers. Not a big name, but it was super cheap. And I know the last time I was on, I had a warm up on. So I was going to continue that tradition. But now I'm getting rid of it now.
Oh gosh, I don't know how we're gonna do it. How are we gonna do this if you don't have the warm up on?
I know. I started with it at least.
Yeah. Oh man, Mark, welcome. How you doing? Yeah, good shout out to Mel Daniels. That reminds me. I don't know if any of you remember back on Blowout way back when. Must have been like right around the pandemic in 2020. They did like an all-time draft. It was like draft your like draft a 12 or 15 player team, and then people would like vote on which team wins and stuff like that. So I drafted Mel Daniels way back then in the Blowout draft. So he very nostalgic for me. I don't know how far back you have to go to be nostalgic, but what's up, Flagrant Foul? So yeah, just to get through all the logistical stuff again, we're also up on Instagram live right now on my account. You can see it next to my name. And then we're here on YouTube. So thanks for hanging out. We will have the QR code up right here. If you want to join us, QR code is there. And we'd love for you to join the roundtable. I'll stop doing that. We heard from Kyle. What's up, Steve and Adam? How are you guys doing? And then just generally, what's new with everyone?
Doing well, Joey. I just want to bounce off what you just said about the Instagram Live. I know you're using our, Hobby Hangout to promote your own Instagram account and go live on that. But no, I did. I just want to give a thanks to the people that are following our account and everything. I mean, it's pretty simple to share a story post, but I did try to grab a few extra followers and did some shameless promotion the other day with a story post as we slowly work towards 1,000. And we got a couple handfuls of new followers, but more importantly, I was really just thankful for people taking the time to share or share it with friends or whatever. So it's nice to see people, connecting with us in that way and appreciating what we're doing. So thanks to everyone that shared and continues to share our stuff as we, try and reach more people to hang out with us.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll tell you again, man, you just have to become a professional card collector in your Instagram account, and then you could do the lives. But I think as of now, I'm the only one of us that's a professional card collector. So according to Instagram, so
there's nothing professional about me in my personal or professional life, Joey. So,
Adam, how you doing?
I'm doing well. Not much going on here. Just got out of work a little late, so I was running behind. I think I came in on you talking about me not being here already. I'm usually
I always expect to be the last one in, so I came in and I was like, "What?" And so
yeah. But yeah, nothing new with me. No new cards, no new pickups. But I do like the topic.
Yeah, I'm excited to see because I know you have a lot of stuff. Cool. Steve or Kyle, do you have any pickups to share? Anything new? Any updates in terms of your hobby endeavors?
No, I'm just gonna say, when we get into the ABA documentary, I do want to let you know, Joey. I said I was gonna watch it last weekend, but in full disclosure, I haven't got around to it yet. I was distracted by stuff with my family and everything, and Celtics games are on, and I got wrapped into there's a professional women's league called Unrivaled, and they had their playoff tournament this weekend in an early week, so I got distracted by all that. So my only pickup is we talk Flawless a lot on this, so this came in today. This is out of 20. It's a Jay Crowder Flawless patch in 21-22. This is my 10th copy, so I know I have half the print run. Definitely overpaid for that one by, $10-$20 or so, but happy to get that in. So that's my only pickup is a little hoard of a Flawless patch.
Are you going to try to get them all?
I'm like a Pokemon. Yeah, there are a few. People laugh at me when I say I don't hoard Crowder cards. I super collect them, but I don't hoard. Like I usually only get one copy of each card. There's a few select patch sets that I really like that I do try and get every copy that I can. And so every jumbo patch that pops up from this, so not the doubles, but just the jumbo patches, I do try to get every copy that pops up. So whether it be an out of 5 or there were no gold parallels for him that year, so it's just the base out of 5, or I've never seen the 101. But yeah, I would try and grab everyone I could if they're reasonable.
Nice. Congratulations.
What do you got going on?
I did get one pretty nice. Well, for me, it's a pretty nice card. It's not a very valuable card, and it's actually pretty beat up. It is a Gary Harris Mosaic sticker auto 101 with the auto running way off the sticker, a huge crease on the back. But for people that haven't followed it, I am in the crowd on this card, and I discovered that after trying to get on the back of a card or on the front of a card for years. Apparently I've been on one for 3 years, and I know it's me. My head is down. Like I know where I was sitting. I have pictures of me on that night, but it's not like you can look at this and be like, oh yeah, there you are. But yeah, I know I'm on there. So this is my 101, I guess. So I was happy to get that. As happy as I'll ever be to get a Gary Harris card.
I know that you have a video, right, that goes through that on your YouTube channel. Again, Wax Museum Podcast. I'm sure everybody who is watching or will watch knows your channel. But did you mention, are there parallels to that card? Are you going to go for parallels? Are you satisfied?
Yeah, there's, and I'll say I'm not normally a rainbow chaser. It's just because it's like, do I really want rainbow neon green and all this other stuff? But this rainbow's small. It's like 6 cards, and I've got the 101. I think I have a gold on the way. A friend of mine said, someone bought the gold, also don't buy a gold. So I think I know where that's going. And I have the blue, I have the base, so there's and a red choice. So I think I'm missing black gold numbered to 8, and then a red wave. So it's like, yeah, I probably should finish this rainbow.
Oh yeah, and if you have the 101, I didn't realize you had the 101. Was that?
Things happened quickly. I showed that I was on a card on YouTube, and then Justin, who was on this show last week, messaged me and said, "Hey, I actually have that 101." So we made a trade. We live an hour and a half apart, so it got to me pretty quick, and it all happened in less than a week.
Oh, that's super cool. I feel like he may have shown it. Did he show that 101?
Yeah, no, he was definitely trying to pawn it off on Ryan when he found out that Ryan liked Gary Harris. So this is a card that Justin has been open to unloading. Has made that public for a while.
Well,
so
I had to look back.
In the right hands.
I had to look back on my message thread with him because that's a card where I would have told him he was ridiculous for purchasing it at some point. So like, did I shame him for buying this and then try to trade for it later on? But no, we didn't have that conversation, thankfully.
That's really funny. Yeah, I do remember that because I remember pointing out to him that Ryan was a Gary Harris super collector. So that's so ironic that it's also the card that you ended up on.
Well, yeah, thank you, Ryan, for not wanting it. And everyone else, thank you for not wanting it.
All right, if you guys don't mind, I have a few shares. They just unfortunately all ended up working out where they came on the same week because there was the whole card hobby situation that I finally picked up the cards over the weekend, and then I ordered a card the previous weekend. It didn't come in by Thursday, so whatever. I'm just gonna share everything, and then I'm going to stop because I don't think I really have anything to contribute today. So the one thing that I know he's not ABA, but at least from that old time, one thing that I picked up, and this is the one, Adam, you know about, is after we talked 48 Bowman way back when, months ago or whatever, there was the conversation about like picking up the Bowman and how expensive it is and out of reach it is. And so ever since then, you guys mentioned that Topps reprint, the 96 Topps reprint Mikan auto. So a week or so ago, I ended up picking up that auto, and I'm like, man, for probably, I don't remember what you guys said the cheapest Bowmans go for, but like this is such a good fill-in for if you want to have, or at least this is my mindset. Like, I think it's just so cool to be able to have a Mikan auto rather than a card that was released when he was playing. Obviously, that's really cool too, but it's cool that he signed the card. Obviously, it looks like the Bowman, and so I just really think it's awesome to be able to put that in as just like a lover of cards and card history.
Not to cut you off, but maybe without even realizing it, he was also the first ABA commissioner.
Oh, I did not realize that.
So,
Yep.
Okay.
There's
So I
a
guess
good
I
connection
do have
already
to-
without even.
Yeah, very ABA related. You didn't know it, but very much
I
ABA
didn't know
related.
it. I know. That just goes to show how much I'm going to learn, hopefully, how educated I'm going to get today. So,
It's a great card, though. I love that.
yeah, it seems like a no-brainer. And you're right. Like, it's a stupid cheap card for I feel like what it is and what it represents.
It just goes to show like the cost of things is so irrelevant to how cool they can be. That's such a cool card, very iconic, and I can't remember how much you said it was, but for maybe a 30th or 40th of the lowest grade copy of
Oh, jeez.
yeah,
I mean,
it's ridiculous.
I paid $250 for it, $250, and I'm like, yeah,
probably
you said it's
20th
the
of the
30th or
lowest
40th.
grade.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Good deal. That's cheaper than I got mine.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
good deal.
Yeah, it was on blowout forums, and I was like, I'm just gonna grab it because I've been wanting it ever since we talked about it. But yeah, so that's that. Then the rest is like card hobby adjacent. I'm not going to show all my cards from the card hobby pickup, or card hobby order, but finally got it. Met up with my friend this weekend. That's in San Diego. Picked it up from the dealer who picked it up for me from the show, whatever. After that whole drama, and I was still a little nervous because, I knew that the pickup was made. Card hobby had some weird stuff on their end when, like, one of the cards, I guess my last card in the order got lost or not lost, but got delayed or took forever to come in. So I like requested pickup at the show, and then I added in that last card later, or messaged them asking them to add it in. And then there was no record of it at the show. So it ended up being in the box, and all the cards ended up being in the box. But when you have, several cards passing hand to hand, it's just a little nerve wracking because you're worried. I was worried that maybe not everything would be in there or whatever, but, just going to show real quick, like what first got me on to like the first card I bought on Card Hobby that made me want to even go for it. And I've been wanting a Giannis auto for a long time. I really like Gala, so I picked up the cinematic signatures from Gala. I haven't got it out of the holder yet. I'm still not sure if I could trade this as a BGS 9 and then get a raw copy, and I don't know, some other cards with it. I don't know if the BGS 9 is even worth anything more anymore, but I would do it. Yeah, I don't think it really is, but if not, I'm just going to crack it out. I think it's already cracked the slab, but that's what first got me onto it. And then you guys know that I picked up the Dirk for the stat line memorabilia set.
Congratulations again on that.
It's huge. Yeah, that's awesome, man.
Yeah. So the fact that I was able to pick that up for a lot less than it was on eBay and whatever. And then
Joey, did you ever have any luck tracking down? There was that copy on the Asian site that Mike or somebody was trying to help you out for the Clay Thompson to finish it off. Did you ever have any luck tracking going to that?
on Jianyu.
Yeah.
It's funny you mentioned that because I did, and it just came in. The Clay.
Nice.
So, yeah. So
Wow. Nice.
I'm super pumped because obviously it's the last card for the set. Obviously the patch is crazy with that.
It's an
that
insane patch.
Yeah,
There
it's
it
an
is.
insane patch. And so I'm like obviously thrilled to have finished the set. And I really, really want to thank, it was Ishmael Havlicek
That's
stole
what it
the
was.
cards.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Havlicek, yep.
Who first like put me on to the fact that this thing even exists, this JNU app, and that it was on there. There are actually two copies on there. One was a nameplate patch and one was that patch. And then somebody, it might've been him or someone else, directed me to Raphael, I Collect Wade, who sometimes listens in here. And I was trying to talk to him about like the process of buying through that site, and he was like, yeah, well, you need a Chinese payment method and like address. And I was like, okay, shoot, well, forget it. I'm just not gonna, I can't get the card. I don't have either of those things, and I'm not gonna like go through whatever shady business I need to do to get those things. It ended up being like he told me, he was like, oh, well, I can buy it for you, ship my cards account and whatever. And it's funny because the guy had it listed pretty high, and then I asked him if he would accept offers. He said no, and then he came back to me. The seller went back to Raphael and was like, didn't you say you had a guy that wanted to buy this? Well, I kind of feel like maybe I'll take offers. So I made him an offer. We like went back and forth once or twice, and then he accepted it. But the fact that he went through all that trouble to communicate with me, or to communicate with the seller for me on my behalf, and then ship it to me. He even threw in just a bunch of Kings cards into the package. So I really appreciate it. I mean, I've been working on this set unofficially. Like I've been picking up cards from the set unofficially for 9 years. But like I've been going after it hard for 7 years. So it's like kind of crazy to be done. But yeah, those are the big things for sure that I felt like came in. So it's been a big couple weeks.
That's awesome. How many people are in the set in total?
It is 26 cards. So 26 players. They're all numbered out of 25, except for some reason the Dwight Howard is out of 24. So,
nice.
So yeah, thanks Mark for the welcoming into the Mike and Reprint Club.
Shout out to Raphael. He's helped me in a situation kind of like that as well. And I was like you, I'm like, I just don't think this is going to happen. And then not only does it show up, he sends extras. Just a really good guy.
Yeah. And I like literally didn't ask for anything in return. Just, I paid him, he paid the guy, and he brought me the card, so it was really, really great. So cool. So I think that does it, and is my sole ABA contribution for the week or for today. But so I feel like maybe I should throw the floor to you guys. When you're talking ABA cards, ABA documentary, obviously it's huge for the history of the league and stuff. But where's a good place for us to start in your mind?
So I'll just jump in a little bit and just sort of set the table, Joey. And while I did say I haven't watched the documentary yet, I watched part of the first episode last night in between games, or before the Celtics embarrassment. I forget when I had it on, but it's excellent. And if you don't know anything about the ABA, it's similar to some of the other sports documentaries, at least what I've caught so far, where if you know some stuff about the ABA, there's still going to be good stuff in there. Like there's it opens up with just actual archival footage of George Mikan being interviewed as the commissioner and talking about his vision and stuff. So there's some really cool stuff in there. If you don't know anything about the ABA, it's a very modern interpretation of telling the story. It's good footage. It's good interviews. It's done in, HD and all that stuff. What I was, and I think it's awkwardly having Kyle here, because I was going to tell everyone to go follow Kyle's content, because Kyle's done a great job sort of in a very historical lens documenting the ABA, and I'll let you talk in a second, Kyle. So, we call it the Hangout. I don't want to jump into like really going through, it was 9 seasons and then a hostile takeover by the NBA. Like that information's out there. It's in the documentary, and Kyle's got, probably 4 episodes at least, Kyle, of, you had,
I think, at least I've had
Dropping Dimes twice. You did I think 2-part episode reviewing the history of the league. Plus you had the second Dropping Dimes. Who was it? It was you had a player with you too.
Darnell Hillman.
Right?
I had Bob Nedelicki, Billy Keller. Pacers guys.
So definitely check out Kyle's archived episodes for really the historical take on it. But I thought we would just kind of talk about some of the cards. So similar to when I talked about the All-Star stuff, Joey, I reminded everyone that while the NBA and professional basketball in the 70s was a hodgepodge of stuff, we started to see some of what could be with cards. And just like they were doing All-Star stuff in the 70s, 72 tops, 74 tops, they had ABA, teams within the NBA team. So it was like a master professional basketball set. One of the more popular cards is 74, 75. You can get a Wilt Chamberlain Conquistadors card. So just like they had NBA cards as part of the set, they had ABA cards, and it's been going since then, and then it ends. The most recent iteration, Kyle, I don't even think I've ever told you I bought this. I do have a pack of the Atlanta Sports. So I I play basketball a few times a week, and every Friday I play at work, and we actually use an ABA basketball. You can get them on Lana Sports. Supports the Dropping Dimes, and I bought it just to support after listening to Kyle's episode to support the Dropping Dimes. I would say it's excellent value. If you're looking for a basketball to play with, it actually plays really well. And I was at Dick's Sporting Goods the other day, and basketballs are stupid expensive like anything else. But modern day ABA cards, there's a company called Lana Sports. They see mine's.
Is yours the Mikan version, or because they made different ones, or the slick pink?
Yeah, no, I got Mikan. Yeah, Commissioner Mikan right there.
Yeah, you got the Mikan one. So that was pretty cool. They got the rights like from his family to put his name on the ball. So whereas the first iteration did not have Slick Pinkham wasn't even a real person.
Really?
It was a Pacers draft pick because they needed to pick somebody, and it was a mixture of some names. But anyway, it was not a real person, so that's who they used for the first ball.
Love it. So, the most recent iteration of ABA cards is by Lana Sports. They are helping a nonprofit called Dropping Dimes support ABA players, and it's not good value at all. The whole thing is it's really a fundraiser, right? So the basketball is great value. These are not good value, but you're basically making a donation. And if you follow their website or their social media handles, they usually have 20% off coupons, and maybe you can pick them up. Mm-hmm. They're sold primarily as like a redemption chase. So 1 out of 50 packs, you can get like autographed memorabilia, stuff like that. But they're officially licensed through the NBA to get the rights to ABA. So they have, all the team logos, and they have the players that they have the rights to print of on there, and they have the ABA logo. So that's the most recent iteration. And the first iterations, unless Kyle's going to tell me I'm an idiot, were in tops in the early and the mid 70s. And everything in between. So I thought we would just sort of talk about what we like about the ABA, if we've seen the doc at all, and then share some cards along the way. And we're probably going to end up with Adam and Kyle arguing over a certain silhouette that they've both been chasing for years.
No. All peaceful conversations here. We both got them now. We both got them now. So
yeah, that's right. Yeah, Adam got his recently. But yeah, so I just wanted to set the table a little bit, and then let you guys sort of take it from there as far as what you might want to share or stories about the ABA. Just kind of chat away.
So I do want to bring up something that you talked about, Steve, and please stop me if I end up talking too much. But the fact that the ABA and the NBA were rival leagues and in the same basketball card set is pretty wild. And I was trying to think of something to compare it to, and even the best thing I can think of, and this is kind of a generational thing too, is like if WCW and WWF had a joint card set during the Monday Night Wars, like it just wouldn't make any sense. But that's what ended up happening in the early 70s, and they didn't put the ABA guys in immediately. It wasn't until 1971, so it took a few years. But then when they got them in there, it was really cool. And the ABA guys are some of the high number ones too, so that was more of a thing in that era, even with baseball. But there's some of those ABA guys. I mean, you can get all the cards now pretty easily, but some of them you might end up paying a little more for George Peoples than you would want to. But that's just kind of the nature of it being a high numbered card. But I don't have any 71s in front of me. I don't know why I didn't grab any. I did grab some 72s. And these are actually signed because this is a set that I worked on. So like I was disappointed that I should say I love the Soul Power doc. I was disappointed though that they didn't talk about a few key guys, not star players necessarily, but just colorful personalities like Wendell Ladner. He was like a ladies' man. He would dive on the floor for loose balls. Like he busted a glass water cooler at one point and got all cut up on the court. So there's lots of stories like that. He was more known for being on the Colonels, but this was the Memphis Tams. So imagine a team named after a hat. Roger Brown here, not as tough. And Wendell Ladner, I forgot to mention, he died in 1975. So this is a 1972 card.
Yeah.
Not a lot of time to get this one signed. And also nobody was getting, well, obviously somebody was, but figuratively, nobody was getting basketball cards signed then because nobody really cared about basketball cards, let alone getting them signed. Roger Brown, he died in, I think, 1997. So his autos are out there, but, still sought after because he was a kind of a late addition to the Hall of Fame. And then this is an NBA card, but of a famous ABA player. This is another guy that they should have mentioned in the doc, John Brisker. They talked about Warren Jabali a lot, but not John Brisker. And John Brisker, he was a guy, he'd bring guns into the locker room like many other players. They had there was, I think it was an Anaheim Amigos program cover where he's got holsters and 2 guns. And then he disappeared in Uganda and was legally declared dead in 1985. But there's all sorts of theories. He was probably dead long before that. So I won't go into all that stuff, but that's an interesting rabbit hole to go down. John Brisker. And I think his grandson plays for the Chicago Bears, kind of random, but so you will see him mentioned occasionally, more so because of that.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So, I mean, where, for someone like me, like, where do you go? Are you guys just like reading up on these players online? Are you like, where are you going? Yep. Obviously the doc now, but.
So before I was even into the doc in high school, I wanted to learn more about the history of the Pacers. There were very few resources out there. There was a great website called Remember the ABA. And mind you, this was in like 2005. I don't think that website's been updated since then. It's still a great website, but it looks like it's still in 2005. But then this was the go-to book by Terry Pluto. It's called Loose Balls. Not to be confused by the one with the same name by Jason Williams, the Nets Jason Williams, not your Jason Williams. But this is a great book. It's not like a storytelling, like, start to finish. It's more like here's a lot of players. Here's a paragraph from this guy. Here's a paragraph from this guy. Here's a paragraph from this guy. But this is like the go-to for all things ABA. And it's kind of become the ABA Bible over the years, really.
Oh, interesting. Thank you for sharing. I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, you can probably get. It's probably pretty cheap on Amazon too. I would bet you could probably get it for less than $10.
Yeah, I looked up to remembertheaba.com. I feel like I wanted to put it up, but I don't even know if it's worth doing that. It does look like it was made by a child in the early 2000s.
Not a child. That was advanced for the time, but unfortunately, unfortunately, has not really changed much since then. There is a Twitter account called ABA Throwbacks, and they've kind of taken over the marketing for Soul Power. But before that, they did a lot of ABA content as well. So there's a lot of good stuff out there. You do kind of have to dig for it, though.
That's very cool. So you were saying that they were combining the players in sets. What were the sets, I guess, in theory, because the NBA existed before the ABA, so they were just sets like they made previously, and then they would input certain ABA players or whatever?
No, well,
it was the 70s set, right? So we talked about during even the unlicensed conversation we talked about how there were like licensing issues, and they were licensing with individual teams and not. And then as the years went on, they just started licensing with the ABA teams as well. So like I don't have it. I sold it to my LCS, but I had the complete 74-75 set, and their base set was NBA teams, ABA teams, and then like within the base set subsets of all-star memories, and then there's a whole postseason run too, recognizing the finals run the year before. So it was just the Pacers players and the Conquistadors players were in there with their team, just like the Boston Celtics and Hawks were. So it was just it was part of every year. I have to imagine, Kyle, Adam, you guys might know more. I just assume every year the licensing was different because there were years they were using certain teams and not. I think it was all individual licenses, team by team, up until the NBA sort of saw the power and marketing behind cards.
Yeah, well, I mean, they did have the players' associations even then that they use for licensing, and it was messy because like they resolved some of the team stuff, I think, by 72. But either the stories I've heard is either the photographers didn't know, or they were using older photos in some cases, so they were still having them flip their jerseys around when they already had some of the rights early on. So, but like they would split a setup, and I don't. This probably isn't going to display great, but like the first half of the set or whatever is the NBA guys. The second half is the ABA. So it was still like separate, even though it was contained within the same set. That's why I said like some of the ABA guys ended up being the high numbers just because they were kind of secondary.
And can you explain, because I've heard high numbers in reference to baseball and stuff too. When you're saying high numbers, what is that reference?
And you guys can correct me on this. My understanding is that some of the higher numbered cards, I think, were fewer copies were printed.
Higher number in the set, you mean?
In this set, yeah. But keep in mind, some of these baseball sets were like the 68 top set has 598 cards. So the Tigers team card, I know because I was getting that signed. I used to get that signed at spring training by all the old timers. That was a little more expensive. One, because they won the World Series that year, but two, because it was a high number card. So there were just fewer copies out there. Still very attainable, but fewer than, let's say if there was a team card that was card number 94 or whatever. So it's a lot easier to get.
A lot of times with those too is it ends up being two different series on the bigger baseball sets. So you'd have like a first run series and a second series. And by the time the second series is being printed, you're kind of almost towards that next year of cards and season where you end up having a lesser run, or like the famous stories of dumping the 52 Topps high series cards into the river and making the Mickey Mantles more rare and the Jackie Robinsons more rare, things like that. So there's a combination of things. And I think some of that is brought over onto sets that don't necessarily have a rarity separation, but it's still just the kind of the aesthetic of a high number card has always been more valuable than the low series. And even like the 48 Bowman, the first set in basketball, is the same way. The second series is considerably more rare than the first series.
And those are sequentially higher, like the next in numbering after the series one ones? Okay.
So like the 48 Bowman, I think it's cards like 1 through 32 or something like that, or the low series, and then 33 through 64 or whatever it is. There's a definite cutoff line, and it's all of the lower series are printed at a higher volume than the higher series.
That's really interesting. And I think they still, or maybe it's a recent change, I think they still do a heritage high number in baseball. So maybe it's not a rarity difference, but I definitely know that people covet them more.
And then I think I'm going to transition to a couple of cards and give Adam a chance to talk about his understanding of the ABA a little bit too. Is Joe, you asked like, how do we get to know about the ABA? And if Ryan was here with us, we would be talking to Kyle, whose favorite NBA team was an original ABA team, and Ryan, whose favorite NBA team was an original ABA team, and Adam, who lives in Kentucky, where I'd say probably the most recognizable ABA team name, maybe the Squires, but probably the Kentucky Colonels, right? So I think there's still a fandom behind it, just based on the impact that still has on regions. Like a lot of the ABA teams were in regions of the country that are quote unquote basketball regions, even if it was more of a collegiate focus, Virginia, Kentucky, Indiana, etc. And there's still a large impact on the NBA too. And, I'll show off a few Kentucky Colonels cards. I've only got a few ABA cards left in my collection, but Immaculate Collection has done a very nice job with ABA cards. So this is, I know I've got my 2016 computer here. This is an Artist Gilmore. You can't see what the patch is, nice and dirty, probably some gross sweat stuff. This is numbered out of his jersey number out of 53. And then I've got two different copies of the Louis Dampier. I've got a gold and a I don't know, sapphire, ruby or whatever, with some higher quality patches. Like these are nameplates or team logos. So a couple patch autos there of the Kentucky Colonels. I'm sure you've talked about it, Kyle. I don't know what connection Panini had to the Colonels, but they had Dan Issel, Dampier, Gilmore, and they had at least a uniform of each because they were in a lot of different sets throughout the years. So they did a really nice job capturing some of those relics and getting the players that are around to sign some of the cards as well too. So I don't know if that's a good segue to you, Adam, talk a little bit about your ABA fandom or life in Kentucky, and if the ABA resonates down there still at all, or wherever you want to go with it.
I wouldn't say there's any ABA influence from like the average person. I don't know anybody around me, for example, that is interested in it, but as a sports fan, and probably said it before, the history of sports has always been more interesting than just the live event of sports. I like both, obviously, but the history has always been something I liked. And being a basketball fan, UK is huge here, but there is no professional basketball. There's almost no watching of professional basketball. Until recently, I never even knew people even watched the NBA around me. So that was like the only lineage we had to professional basketball. So that was always cool to me. And to touch on what you said, I can't remember the guy's name, but Kyle may know, is he was like a equipment manager. He sold off a ton of Kentucky stuff at the time, kind of filled in for Panini to make those sets. I think that's a big proponent as to why they were the most commonly seen in a lot of those.
Yeah, is Lloyd Pinky Gardner. He was the Basically, I think he was able to keep all of the uniforms when they ran out of money. That was his compensation, is the way I remember it, right?
Because the Colonels just folded, right? They were one of the teams that the NBA was like, we're not even going to try and take you over. They were just allowed to fold and disappeared into oblivion, right?
Yeah, they basically got a buyout amount to just close shop and no longer come over into the NBA. And I mean, that's one thing we haven't even got into as well, is like the Spirit of St. Louis is an unbelievable story. The Sona brothers opted away from getting their buyout amount, instead got, I think it was 1/8 of an NBA TV rights contract, which ended up turning into like $800 million or something crazy. I forget the sum, but it was some preposterous amount of money for the time.
And it could have even been more. They eventually negotiated, so it was in perpetuity. Basically, the like 1 or 2 like 2 or 3% of just the ABA team's TV revenue, which at the time was nothing. So, and ESPN actually did a pretty good 30 for 30 on them as well. Yeah. But the last episode of Steve, if you got to watch the rest of the doc. The last episode talks about that too. Yeah, it's really good. I really enjoyed it.
I actually haven't finished the documentary either. I need to do that. Keep putting it off and trying to find time to watch it without my wife. She's not very interested. But
you guys have meaningful basketball to watch right now, so
it's about to be more meaningful when Jason Tatum suits up again.
I know, crazy. Is they said tomorrow, right? He's coming back.
It's going to happen tomorrow. Yeah,
you think so?
Whew.
He officially changed from out to questionable on today's official team injury report, and it's a game that I think you can plan on. You can plan minutes accordingly against a team like the Mavericks. Sorry, Dallas fans, but you can kind of work. And it's a big deal, and hopefully Cooper Flagg plays as well. He's from Maine, so it's like this game's had a huge aura about it in New England anyways. So adding Tatum to it and giving him 10 to 15 minutes to come in would be an easy game to do so, and also a game that's going to have good energy and positive vibes. So I bet he hits the floor tomorrow for at least a 10 or 15 minute stint.
And this is 10 months
crazy.
Removed from a ruptured Achilles. Jeez.
Yeah.
Shouldn't do it, in my opinion, but we could go down this rabbit hole too.
Well, you're safe, right? There's no way Tyrese.
Yeah, no, Halliburton's not coming back. They've already said it's not happening.
Yeah, well, he's got no reason to come back, right?
Got to protect. Just as a real quick side note, last night a ball hit off of Andrew Nembhard, and they called it out on the Clippers. And Andrew Nembhard told the ref it was out on me. It's like, that is ethical tanking right there. Just being honest.
Isn't Trae Young supposed to be coming back soon, or did he come back yet?
He played. Yeah, he played tonight.
He played tonight. Okay.
Yeah.
Crazy. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. But so anyway, Kyle, I guess I don't know if there's anywhere you guys are that you have in mind right now, but Kyle, you were showing me earlier another kind of memorabilia from
and I've got all sorts of stuff here laid out. So like I said, I want to take my turn though. I don't want to just talk over everyone. But so you saw the Atlanta sports ball that Steve showed off, and I purchased one of those as well. I don't even play with it. It just sits on a shelf, but I kind of wanted to make a contribution to Dropping Dime. So that was my way of doing that. It's like, he bought the card pack, which is like when you used to buy the Barney plush from PBS for like $100. That's kind of the same idea there. But no, I actually have this right here, which is a Mikan ball. It's a original George Mikan era ball. I don't know if it's actually game used or not. I bought it from the George McGinnis estate sale. But there was some other stuff in the auction that I don't even think was his. I think people were just donating it because the proceeds were going to Dropping Dimes. I threw a low bid on this, because it had no COA or anything. And I woke up and I won. I was kind of like, oh crap, I didn't actually think that bid was going to win. I'm happy it did, but then it was kind of like, all right, well, I got to figure out how to ship this thing to me because they don't ship stuff. I got to pay a third party it was weird. I don't buy from auctions like that normally. So
what did they have that listed as? Like what was the listing?
Well, I think they put game used ball on it, but
Okay.
there's like no COA or any. There's not even anything that says like George owned this. Like I don't think he did. Some of the other stuff did. So who knows where that came from? But it is a Mikan era ball. It holds air well, so I'm happy with it. And for I think I got it for like $400, which felt like super undervalued to me. And I mean, it's not going anywhere. I'm keeping it, but most things I collect are much smaller than that. Like I know you guys showed off some relic cards already, so I guess I'll go down that route. The Dan Issel stuff here. I really like this gold one. It's a great piece of the patch.
Yeah, it's a really nice patch.
I think I found the jersey that they bought online, and if it is the one that they bought, it was a jersey and shorts combo, and the shorts had a big burn hole in them because he used to they'd wash their own jerseys in the hotel room, and he hung it over a lamp and basically burn a hole in it. So I'm hoping that that's the pair of shorts that Panini has, and I look at like every Dan Issel relic to see if there's a big burn mark on it, and I have not seen one so far. So yeah, if you see some burned shorts out there, I'm interested in those. I do have some Gilmore stuff here. I've got these flawless patches. There we go. Get a. I like this one especially, and someone mentioned silhouettes earlier. I
want to know what the silhouette.
I just really like the ABA stuff because it's just so rare. Like they probably shouldn't have cut this stuff up to begin with, but I am not going to complain because I collect cards and I don't like collecting big bulky items. And then I think someone showed off a Louis Dampier earlier. So they had a Spurs and a Colonels jersey for Louis Dampier. The Spurs would have technically been NBA, so I'm not going to show that tonight. But I've been buying these Dampiers for years, so I think I've got 7 of them. I don't know. Yeah. None of them are really great patches except for this one is really nice. Yeah. My camera's struggling here. Steve's on a 2016 computer. I think I am too.
For people listening, it's Kyle showing off the 2014-15 horizontal patch that we've talked about a lot. Adam and I are big fans of that with the hollow foil, and one of those rubies looks very familiar, Kyle. I feel like that one might have come from Boston down to Florida during a story sale at some point.
I think it did at some point. I don't know. And someone bought one. Someone bought yours before I could get to it.
Oh, maybe. Yeah, you know what? You might be right.
Yeah, but yeah, probably that guy right there.
Maybe that one. Yeah. Maybe Adam's got it. I know it went to a friend.
Yeah. But all of that being said, I think Panini, especially in the earlier Panini era, did a really good job with the ABA stuff. I mean, they even had some, and Adam's probably got some of those. I forgot to pull them. Some of the ABA themed auto sets. Actually, you just finished one recently. I remember you showing it on the show. And even they had this insert set that called Changing Times. Nice. It was not autoed set. I sent these through the mail, and then they bled on this canvas surface. So that's unfortunate though, because Connie Hawkins is no longer with us. But they did a really good job with some of the earlier stuff. Like here's a Artist Gilmore private signings. This one's jersey numbered 53 out of whatever it's out of. They did a really good job with that stuff in the early Panini era. So I figure, Adam, you probably got some of that stuff too, if you want to show some of that off.
Sure. Yeah, I've got the 3 main sets I think of is there's 2 from NT and there's 1 from Threads. The one from Threads is sticker autos.
Okay.
There's 1 of those, and then there's 2 from National Treasures.
Nice.
Oh, that's so cool. The Squires.
Yeah, and the font there, so nice.
This one's the one I like best. The players are kind of tiered on rarity. Julius Erving's the most rare. He's limited to 10. But then the other year that they did is vertical. It's also tiered on rarity. He's, I think, contending with other players at 25 print run, but he stands alone at the out of 10 on the other year. But I really like these a lot. I've got the full set of this one. I'm missing Issel from the horizontal, and I'm missing a couple from the sticker autos. They just have never been as much of a priority. But this is one that I really like. The horizontal design goes really well with the ABA, and the way the card's laid out, I think it looks really good.
Is
those are
the
beautiful.
ISIL or is it just really hard to find, or is it just a matter of they're priced way too high?
I've not seen one for sale. I'd probably just pay whatever somebody wanted for it within reason. But it's numbered to 25, and it's from what 20? I think this is 2011, 12 season. So I mean, it's just been a while, and nobody's really listed one. People probably think it's worth $5 and see what ISIL
Yeah.
cards sell for, and don't list it when I would pay a lot more than that.
Well,
But,
I got the George McGinnis at a Florida show for $10, and
Yeah.
it's like super lucky, and that's the only one I have, and it's like that's the guy I wanted from it. So I was like, I couldn't take my money out fast enough.
This is one that I also really like. You mentioned his name on your inserts you had
Mhm.
signed, but it's his only Piper's autograph that I'm familiar with.
Wow, yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, I really like these a lot. Like I said, they're just the ABA design, the logo, team logos, the uniqueness of all of it. I mean, I just really like the way those look.
The Soul Power did a really good job telling Connie's story too.
Yeah, like I said, I need to finish watching that. And I think those are to me are like the quintessential like full ABA sets. There's obviously sprinklings in across a bunch of things, but rather than show the same cards everybody else has, I had a couple things I pulled out aside. Dampier
Oh wow.
That's the 101, right? Yeah.
101, yeah, the personalized. This was one that was funny. The guy listed it on eBay for like a stupid price. I can't remember what it was, but it was north of $1,000. I think it was $1,500. And obviously, I wasn't going to pay that for a Louis Dampier. I think I could probably fly him to my house for $1,500 and talk to him for a while. So I just kept messaging him, being a pest, saying like, "Hey, I'm legitimately interested. I just have to get down to reality." And he eventually sold it to me, I think, for like $250. So I mean,
Oh,
it was
wow.
stupid low, and I think under what it was even worth, if anything. But I was very happy about that.
Yeah, when do you see
that?
that?
Yeah, I really like this one. I'm kind of sad that it doesn't have a better patch. One day, if I get around to being weird about these things, I might pull a good patch out of one of the other ones. But the acetate number to the jersey number to 10.
I really like the photo on that one. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's by far my favorite. I just wish the patch was as good as like the paper stock versions of those.
Yeah, I don't like that black and white photo of him that they use on a ton of stuff.
Yeah, like this one here.
Yeah,
I think it's every
it
card
bothers
has
me.
that.
Yeah.
And one thing I also really like about the ABA stuff is there's obviously a lot of players who have kind of turnover between both the ABA and the NBA, but you could always really quintessentially just tell which one's which by the ball.
Mhm.
So I love when you can see that it's got the red, white, and blue ball just to know for sure. And obviously, Kentucky Eternals was only ABA, but like when you get a Pacers card, you're like, well, is this a George McGinnis ABA card or is it a George McGinnis NBA card? And the ball can always tell you, which I think is pretty cool. I know
Yeah,
it shows this one as well.
Panini didn't always do a great job with that, unfortunately. Sometimes they would put like the wrong Pacers logo with like 1980 bloated George McGinnis, but
yeah, they don't always.
That's
do a
me
good
being
job with
picky.
that. This is another one where the ball, it's more than just the ball, the story, the ball, the jersey, everything tells you it's ABA. That's another one I really like.
Upper Deck did a really good job with those chronology
say
ones.
it's a good. Joe, if you can go to the private chat, I just want to. This is more of a card that popped up in my eBay search, and
Nice.
I want to pull it up.
There's my
See
Louis
his,
here.
oh, nice Louis Dampier chronology, Match Adams. So I was scrolling through eBay, and a card I was never going to buy because it's well past my what I would pay for. There you go. Okay, Adam, you don't even Joe. We don't even worry about it. So that's set right there. So Joey, so an Upper Deck Billack, Artist Gilmore. Was that an ABA specific set, or was that just in line with? I know they like. Didn't that set have like Celtics, and they use like the little red shamrock in the middle there? So it was part of that larger set, right?
Yep.
But what Steve was referencing is you found the 101 from that set, right?
You know what? I didn't find it. Just popped up in my save searches. I went looking for it before the show tonight and was shocked I had to go to the sold listings to find it because it sold. It was listed for $1,000. It's a beautiful card. It's what year is that, Adam? That must be 07, 08 probably.
It is 0809.
0809 Upper Deck Black. And it's a set that it's a vertical set where they did like the shadow box design where they have sort of the signature and the black backing, and then a layer on top with like a specialty logo. So this one has the ABA logo. Some of the Celtics had like the Red Auerbach Memorial Shamrock. There are other specialty logos. It was a unique set, and the 101 Artist Gilmore popped up, but the Artist Gilmore auto is too big for the auto window, so it, like, was completely misaligned. Where Adam's copy was a lot more centered within the auto box there.
I was shocked to see that one sold. That was another one kind of like the Dampier personalized 101. I was kind of hoping nobody would touch, and I'd eventually be able to sweet talk the person into selling me for a reasonable price.
The platinum foil on it looked awesome. Like, it really popped well with that ABA logo, and Artist Gilmore has such an artistic signature that it's a nice looking card.
You certainly don't have to sell me on the platinum foil. That's like my favorite stuff. I love that. But yeah, those cards look great. If it was an on card, like a true on card thing, I think I'd be more interested. But like the inserted like black parchment or whatever it is in
the layer.
Yeah, that just, I don't know, it throws me off a little bit. They're still really cool, but that was just enough to make it not a desirable,
and if it doesn't fit.
desirable card for me.
I like they did a lot of ABA specific stuff, like those auto sets that you showed and whatever. I wish they had done more sprinkling the ABA players into some of the mainstream sets, like they did. Like Louis Dampier Colonel's version was randomly in 2014 Prism, which it's kind of a weird photo and weird close up, but I wish they did more of that. They didn't do a whole lot of that though. But yeah, like that auto set, that's awesome. Because they very well could have pictured him as a Spur there. I'm sure they had better Spurs pictures, but that's a great photo on that one.
Yeah, that's really cool too. I like those. But yeah, I was very pleased to see that he was in Cardinals. I feel like so often you find a cool set and he has a Spurs card, which does nothing for me. So I was really happy.
I was going to ask, like, do the ABA guys, their NBA cards kind of turn you off? Are you really just more attracted to the ABA stuff of theirs?
I definitely, at least for me, I personally prefer the ABA stuff for most guys. Like, obviously, like Julius Erving, for example, or George Gervin, guys like that. Like, I don't mind having cards of them in the NBA. But like a guy like Louis Dampier, he is like quintessential ABA guy. So like this is his like era that makes the most sense for me. And then like Artist Gilmore, for example, I feel like he kind of overlays both sides. His dominance was in the ABA, but he had a little bit more of a stellar career in the NBA. So I have a little bit of those. But I don't think I have anything like Spurs NBA for Dampier. It just doesn't really do much for me.
Oh, you're muted, Kyle.
Sorry about that. Didn't want you to hear me coughing earlier. For me, it really depends on the player. Like Gilmore stuff, I don't want any Bulls Gilmore stuff. Although if I found a really cool patch, I'd probably get it. But I'm not going to prioritize that. I don't mind the Dampier stuff, the Spurs stuff, just because it's 70s patches in general are so rare. But you mentioned artists here. I got to show my favorite. Probably my favorite artist card, although I do really like some of those patches. This is one that a triple, and my camera is just struggling tonight. I'm sorry.
Oh, there you go.
But triple signed card. So I think Mel Daniels passed away in, I want to say 2015. So I sent this card to him in like 2012. He was a great signer through the mail. He signed it in ballpoint pen. I held it for years. Like that was my placeholder for my set. And a couple years ago, Artist Gilmore was randomly doing a show in the Tampa area, and it was like $20 or $30. So I'm like, all right, I don't want to send this through the mail because, Mel Daniels passed away. So I went and got Artist to sign it. Then I just needed Julius. So then that was my excuse I've always wanted to pay to get Julius. I couldn't justify the cost when his certified autos are so cheap, but now it's like I could justify the cost. So I got him to sign this at the National. So that was just a really cool experience for me. And he was a super nice guy.
Yeah, it's a really awesome sequence of events.
10 years in the making to get all that done, but finally got it done.
A couple comments from the chat. Caleb jumped in and he asks about someone to talk on the dominance of the 67-68 Pittsburgh Pipers.
Yeah, we didn't quite.
Serious or a joke?
No, he's serious.
Okay.
And I've followed Caleb on some of his social media. He's big into the Pittsburgh sports, and that was they won a title. So Caleb, we did talk a little bit about Connie though. We just didn't talk a lot about the Pipers. Sorry.
So he was the star of that team, Connie Hawkins?
He was, yeah, for a very short time, like a year, I think.
Year or two, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like so that's I believe his only Piper's autograph that he has, if not mistaken.
Yeah, Caleb, if they made more, if Panini made some Stu Johnson cards, then you would get more Piper's mentions. But sorry, they didn't.
And Adam, when you say it's his only Piper's, is that across all manufacturers or just from Panini or
Across all that I'm aware of?
Okay.
I don't. He may have a sticker auto in that vertical thread set that I showed, like this.
Oh, right.
But I can't recall for certain. Like I said, these were never as desirable to me because of the sticker autos.
Yeah.
But I like the ABA stuff, so I'll buy whatever I find and come across. But on card wise, that's definitely his only on card Piper's autograph, and he doesn't really have a ton of autographs in general.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not a super proficient signer, and then he's been dead for a number of years, so you don't have a lot to go pick from, even in like Lakers or Suns uniform, but they're much more common.
And that's kind of another thing about that era is we didn't even get rookie cards of the guys with their rookie teams, right? So like Connie doesn't have a Piper's rookie. He's in the 71 set, but he'd already made it to the NBA by that point. Julius, we did get a Squires rookie, but George Gervin was on the Squires, but we didn't get his rookie until 74 with the Spurs. So it was, everything was kind of, and we saw that even in later eras, everything was kind of delayed. But especially in that era, yeah, there you go. Not a lot of Gervin.
Much of Squire stuff.
I can't imagine there's hardly any more than that. That's fine. That's just such an amazing set, Adam.
Yeah, I really like those. I'd really like to find the ISIL just to kind of put a pin in it and be done with it. But yeah, they're super nice. I think that's really by far the nicest ABA standalone set. And one thing I was going to show too, I just had it down foolishly. They made some inserts in that of players that were no longer around. And I really like those. Like there's a Moses Malone.
Oh wow,
that's a cool addition to that. Yeah.
And they have. I've never even seen a picture of one, but apparently they have a Wilt Chamberlain Conquistadors card as well.
Oh, I've never seen that one.
And it's 74, 75, the years that he was with the ABA. Like, is that just representing the seat? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a cool little addition to that for the players that aren't with us anymore.
And none of this set's by far harder to find than the vertical year of National Treasures, but these are harder to find than even the autographs. Like you'll find an autograph every once in a while from the set, but I never see these. So I really like those. I keep an eye out for them, but they're tough.
And I think to that end, and I truly don't know, but Adam, you said like when you go through your cards, the ABA stuff just hits different. And I agree. There's something about seeing an ABA logo, an ABA ball, an ABA image. We talked about Panini and specifically the sets you're collecting there. In the 2000s, was there anything from Upper Deck or Topps? Were there any insert sets commemorating the ABA? Anything else that people... I know there's not like an autograph set like you're chasing, Adam, but anything that people could be maybe keeping an eye out for if they want to add some stuff. I mean, like Kyle said, the other stuff's just sort of sprinkled in throughout Panini throughout the years, but I didn't know if there was anything in the 2000s that I don't know.
The only thing I can think is just sprinklings. Like the chronology set has a few. It has Dampier. It has Dr. J. It has George McGinnis, I believe, in an ABA uniform. So, I mean, there's a few options there. There's a few little sprinklings, but I can't think of anything that's a full standalone ABA set that ever did.
Interesting. Yeah, so. And I think that goes to why it's sort of so collectible, right? I mean, it was only 9 seasons, but there's a lot of allure behind the ABA, and it's not something that's easily collected.
Yeah, I think it's also kind of a niche thing where the average fan of the NBA probably doesn't care. The same way they probably wouldn't care even if they were NBA or ABA cards of these players. But I think it's just something, an added layer that's kind of neat where you can get a unique autograph that wouldn't be included in an NBA set 30, 40, 50 years later, but they are because they were kind of more pivotal in that league. And that's kind of neat. But also, like we talked about already, I'm from Kentucky. We don't have a professional team. The Pacers are the closest team today that I can go see. But the Kentucky stuff is just cool because it's like an extra added layer to where I'm from or whatever. So it's just something a little bit neater there. And so when there's a set like those that has more than just Kentucky Colonels, adding the other teams and stuff is just unique and cool, and I like that kind of stuff.
Well, and for a long while, really, the NBA didn't promote the lineage of the ABA either. And I know I showed that ridiculous warm-up earlier, so they would sprinkle in things like that, or like this, this is from that same era. This is an Adidas shirt. Well, I wore this for for one of my interviews with the ABA guys, and they're like, well, we didn't even get royalties for that stuff. So even when they use the ABA sparingly, they didn't pay those guys. And then, of course, now we've got the recognition payments, which they agreed to, but I think there's been some snags there. I don't think that there was like 130 players that they didn't agree to cover. I don't know. There's still some snags there. So the NBA has been hesitant to go down that road. And I think they should give the Pacers that little championship tag on the back of their jerseys. That's what I want to see. Of course, let's take care of those players too, but the Pacers should have a 3 on the back of their jerseys. I'm tired of Bucks fans and all the other fans saying no NBA rings because they know they have to be specific. So anyway, that's my last ode to the ABA.
I think we stick to just NBA rings, and we take away the championships that aren't in the city that they're currently in. So the Lakers can't wear.
Of course, yeah, I know where that's going.
Yeah, the Lakers can't wear 17. I think that would be a fair thing.
All right, does anyone have anything else in terms of thoughts? I mean, it was really cool hearing and seeing all your cards. I mean, for me, the things that stick out are the memorabilia cards. It's just so cool to have cards from 50 and 60 years ago or whatever, 55 years ago, that are, even those ones that you guys mentioned aren't impressive. Something about those old patches that are even not multicolor, multi-break are really cool. So, but anyone have anything they want to send us off with?
I forgot I had this sitting over here. This is not a card. It's a nameplate from Steve Chubin, which was originally sold at one of the ABA reunions in the late 90s. I bought it on eBay in, I don't know, like 15 years ago for like $50. The player didn't matter. It was like, all right, I couldn't buy a nameplate of a regular player, a single letter at the time for $50. So I'll just take an entire ABA nameplate. No big deal. And it's got the whole COA from their equipment manager and everything. So not a big name, but I thought that was a pretty cool piece. It's another odd random thing that I've got here at the house.
So curious where the rest of that jersey is. Someone's walking around with a jersey with a big arch cut out of the back of it or something.
Well, I mean, there's probably like 6 players that used it at least. It's just one of those.
One of the sewn.
Hey, you're 160 pounds, just like this last guy. We're gonna put you
take
in
this off and put
same
yours
jersey.
on. I know.
Yeah.
All right, everyone. Well, thank you guys all for sharing all of your cards and knowledge and resources, and everyone who's been hanging out. Thanks for being around in the chat, Drew, Caleb, Mark, Flagrant Foul, all you guys. Thanks for hanging out. Feel free to come on any other time. Every week, we got the QR code, we got the link, and like Steve mentioned, we can start going live on the Hoops Hobby Hangout Instagram once we get to 1,000 followers. So we'll try to do that when we can. But otherwise, looking forward to next week. We will see you guys all then, and have a great week.
Thanks, guys.
And thanks, Kyle, for jumping on with us. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.